Kadosh Boker or Beki'im Bahalacha 6, Siman Kuf Samech Aleph. We're starting a new Siman, Dinei Hasisa, 161. We are on Halacha Aleph, page 161 as well. Ah, wow. So it says Siman Kuf Samech Aleph and page Kuf Samech Aleph. 161, 161. 161 the Siman, 161 the page. Le page. Yeah, Halacha Aleph. General rules. Okay? When performing the mitzvah of netilat yadayim, one must make sure that there's nothing constituting a chatzitza on the hands. Anything that would constitute a chatzitza to disqualify the act of immersing in a mikveh disqualifies the act of netilat yadayim as well. It means technically speaking, right? It doesn't really make sense because this is much more kula. Remember, that's what we said yesterday in the preface. That really meant this is all the Rabbanan. So therefore, imagine this is the Rabbanan on a Rabbanan. You understand? Because first of all, right, we're talking about the majority of the times it's going to be the minority of the body, or even if it's a majority of the body, but you're not makpid, and therefore if it's going to be like that, so then, but this is all the Rabbanan, so what do we do? Still, they were makpid. So it says, therefore, if any substance constitutes a chatzitza on someone's hands, and he does not wish that it remain there permanently, it prevents him from performing the netilat yadayim, even if it covers a very small portion of his hand. Likewise, if the substance covers most of the surface area of his hand, it prevents him from, even if he does not mind permanently. If the substance covers less than half, and he does not mind, you remember yesterday we brought down in the summary that there was 3 different groups. Yeah, there was Mina Torah, Rubo, Umakpid. Rov Aguf and Makpid. That's Mina Torah. Midrabbanan, it's Rubo She'eno Makpid or Miuto Umakpid. Yeah? Miut Aguf Umakpid al ze. Right? So one or the other. One of the two, Midrabbanan. When is it Mutar Legamre? When it's going to be Miuto She'eno Makpid. On the minority of the body, על מיעוט הגוף, פלוס אני לא מקפיד על זה. שתיהם. אתה צריך תרתי לטיבותא. שתי דברים לטוב. Okay? So, in such a case, here, we said the exact same thing. If it's going to be מיעוטו, שאינו מקפיד, but here we're not talking about the entire body. Here we're talking about the hands. Yeah? So I'll give you an example. Here you have an entire hand. מיעוטו ושאינו מקפיד would, let's say, be, right, a ring. Understood? So
they came out the issue of when he's a miuto ve'eno makpid.
So it says 111. Look on the bottom, 111. The Rama cited Sharei Dura ruling that even in a case when a woman has a chatzitza covering a minor portion of her body and she does not mind it being there permanently, she still should remove it before immersing in a mikveh, so that she will not immerse another time with a genuine chatzitza on her body. So everyone understood the Rama. The Rama is coming and saying like this: even in a case where it's okay, midine chatzitza, you should still remove it. You know why? Maybe another case, it is going to be a chatzitza, and she won't remove it. So, for example, right, you asked me on the necklace. Yes. So technically speaking, it's al miuto, ואתה לא מקפיד שזה יהיה שמה. אלא מה? אומר הרמה, even in a case like that, you should take it off. You know why? Less than maybe another time you would be makpid, or another time it would be on the majority, or whatever it is, and therefore, you know what? Always take it off. That's the Rama. Okay. The Rama. Okay. Maran did not bring down this opinion. However, it appears that he did not, right? He says, and it appears that he did not agree with it. Although the response to Shema Shlomo, you know what the Shema Shlomo was? Rabbi Shlomo Amar. He wrote that Maran agreed with the ruling of Rama. Maran Rishon LeZion refuted this position, and he says he ruled against the Sharei Dura. This being the case, certainly the halacha is to be lenient regarding the matter when fulfilling the mitzvah of netilat yadayim. Right? It is likely that even the Rama would agree to this. He ruled stringently only regarding a woman, right, going to because that's midoraita. The Sefer Truma ruled that even though the custom is to remove anything from the body when immersing in a mikveh, that is not necessary for netilat yadayim. The Rama himself commented that it is not necessary to clean out the dirt and lodge underneath the fingernails in order to perform netilat yadayim. So basically like this, one more time. It comes out like this. When did the Rama say that you should always take it off? To do a tefillah b'mikveh. And he was talking about dinei chatzitza for a woman in Kuf Tzadichet. However, though, what's going to happen to do in netilat yadayim? So first of all, 2 questions. First of all, does Maran agree to the Rama? So the Rav Amar said yes. Rav Ovadia said no. Rav Ovadia said he doesn't agree to him. That's number 1. Number 2, right? What would be the halacha to do with netilat yadayim? So he says netilat yadayim you could be mekel. So therefore he says, because number one, even that Ramah, we don't pass on the Ramah according to Sfaradim. So therefore it could be that it's going to be. So he says netilat yadayim, you don't have a problem.
Share Dura, it was written before the Shulchan Aruch according to this.
So now halacha bet 2. Yeah, what about where the chatzitza matters? By the words of the surface area of the hand, we actually mean the fingers alone. So I told you the entire hand. It's really not correct. It's actually just the fingers, not even the palm or the thing. So he says when calculating the majority of the surface, we mean the majority of the surface of the fingers. If chatzitza covers the majority of the surface of the fingers, but less than half of the hand, right? One nevertheless must remove it because of its a chatzitza. Look in the 112 on the bottom. The poskim debated how much of the hand must be rinsed when doing netilat yadayim, as explained above. In 158:16, some rule that the entire hand up to the wrist. Others say that it's recommended to follow the first opinion, but technically speaking, the halacha is that it's really the fingers. So as explained in Siman 1 Kuf Samechet, he says if someone is going to perform Kuf Nun Chet, if someone performed netilat yadayim on his fingers only and he has no more water, he fulfilled the mitzvah. So regarding the halachot of chatzitza, it's going to be the same thing. Meaning, I'm not going to take all this into account. I'm only taking the fingers. So now it's much less. Because now if a person is going to have a few rings, now it could be already, that might become the majority. You understand? So you're right. You would need all the fingers. So I'm saying, the majority is not just enough 1 ring or 2 rings, but I'm saying, but you have something there. Halakha number 3, what most people mind. As explained above, the status of chatzitza often depends on whether a person has a mind, right? Does he mind having it on his skin or not? So this is not necessarily determined by that person's personal feelings, right? If most people would mind having the substance permanently attached to their skin, then it constitutes a chatzitza, even if this particular individual would not mind it remaining there permanently. If most people would not mind the substance remaining attached to the skin permanently, but this individual does mind it, it's highly recommended to remove it. So to minute, imata makpid, because you're a person that's very, very makpid on things. So even though usually people are not, you have to remove it. Right? He says it's recommended to remove, highly recommended. So
you go according to the community.
You go according to your community, but you do go according to yourself as well. Because even though the people are not makpidim, if you are makpid, it's highly recommended to remove it. He doesn't say it's a chayav. He says highly recommended. Yeah, ra'ui lachmin.
It's like the inyan of being
Easternis. Yeah, finicky. Yeah, here the other one though was saying is that if most people would mind and you don't, yeah,
we don't bring Easternis for that giluach.
It is still a chatzitza. No. Yeah. No. Okay. Then he says 113. Look at 113 and 114 in the footnote. Maran the Bet Yosef wrote that it is unclear from the words of the Rambam whether we are to determine the status of chatzitza substance according to the person's individual feelings or according to the majority of people. Regarding a woman immersing in mikveh, Maran ruled that if most people are considered a chatzitza, you have to remove it. That means to do the chatzitza, the mikveh, Maran says, even if she's not makpida, you have to remove it. He cited several rishonim. Right, there's likewise the ruling of Shulchan Aruch regarding the mitzvah netilat yadayim. The Mishnah Berurah cited the Nar Shalom, who deduced from the Ramah that the individual may follow his own feelings and disregard the most people. The Magen Avraham, however, ruled that we follow the rulings of the feelings of the majority of the people and consider the chatzitza in this case as well. The Ma'amar Mordechai deduced from the same from the Bet Yosef. Based upon this, the Mishnah Berurah and the Kaf Chaim both ruled stringently in this matter. Look in the Halacha Berurah. Okay, and then the last halacha, he says, the Maran Betis explained that according to the Rambam, if a woman has a substance on her body and does not want it to be there permanently, she must remove it, even though the majority of women do not or not makpidim. However, she may rely upon the majority of women. Several achronim, including the Shach, ruled stringently regarding mitzvah netilat yadayim. Maran wrote that at first that we follow the individual feelings and consider it to be a chatzitza, but then he reconsidered and did not come up to a clear conclusion. So Shlomo L'Rulia, right, wrote that there's no question that the individual must remove the substance, but he doesn't want it to be remaining there. Okay, and then in practice, look in practice. The last, we're on page 163 on the bottom. In practice, it is proper to be stringent in such a case since Maran remained undecided about it. This is also the ruling of the Mishnah Berurah and Kaf Chaim Sofer. The Mishnah Berurah added, however, that if the dirt under the fingernails is moist or if it is loose, it is not necessarily to be stringent about it. This is especially so if the individual does not mind leaving the dirt there all day long until he does netilat yadayim. Fine. On the top, Okay, in the case where one group of people feel one way about having a substance in the skin, and another group of people feel another way, the halacha is determined by each individual's feelings. Meaning, what happens if you have both? Right? You've got different groups. So there's two different groups. Beforehand, it was the world and then yourself, or yourself and the world, whichever one was a. Here, there's different groups. So maybe you're going to be from one or the other. So he says someone who minds having the substance attached and permanently must consider the chatzitza. For example, a painter or an artist whose hands are constantly spotted with paint, he could do netilat yadayim without cleaning his hands. But another person with similar response, he cannot, because it's a chatzitza. And we're going to explain this in halacha 18.